From a hopeless continent to investment darling of the world, it's not long ago that Africa was perceived as a continent of famine and war. Now it's being hailed as the answer to the world's food shortages. Escalating energy and food prices have triggered a global scramble for Africa's land and water resources.
Global food prices have risen and the demand for biofuels is on the up, and that's made farmland a golden investment opportunity.
Over 55 million hectares of land in Africa has been illegally grabbed since the year 2000, and it continues unabated.
Land 8 times the size of the United Kingdom has already been bought up.
Some call it land grabbing, others say it's a fair business opportunity that helps the world to grow more food.
Countries are buying up prime farmland in Africa at rock-bottom prices.
Today we're looking at how multinational companies and some governments are snapping up land in sub-Saharan Africa.
When you think of land grabs, you traditionally think of large tracts of open agricultural land that are stolen by corporates.
Now we're seeing interest from 3 particular sources. First of all, governments in especially Middle East looking at their food security initiatives. Secondly, institutional investors diversifying away from the equities market to more longer term investments such as in land, perhaps as an inflation hedge. And then lastly, we're looking at the previously small scale farmers within Africa also scaling up as a result of the attractiveness of the agriculture sector.
Why are we all up in arms about the so-called land grab when a lot of the land that's being bought and the deals are done are for land that hasn't been cultivated? Apparently that's our problem in Africa, is we're not utilizing the land that's available to optimum potential.
Many see the investments as a great opportunity for Africa.
Those in favor say it leads to bigger harvests and new jobs.
Others call it a tragedy, saying local populations lose their livelihoods to make space for new landowners.
This is Kwatima Esther from Akokwa village in Atebubu district in Brong-Ahafo region of Ghana. She's the last child out of 10 siblings from her mother, Akoswawa Nepe. Esther has recently finished secondary school and was admitted into a higher institution to study nursing. However, she's had to drop out of school because of a lack of financial resources to enable her continue with her education. This is a typical day in the life of Esther. From the time she wakes up at dawn, it is a constant struggle for her and her family to survive. Life has become extremely difficult for Esther and her household since the land of 30 acres upon which their livelihood and sustenance depended was leased out for 99 years to the Amantine Agro-Processing Company for the large-scale cultivation of cassava that is intended to supply local breweries as well as export purposes towards the production of ethanol. In total, 42,000 acres of land the size of an entire municipality was leased out to the large-scale agriculture company by the chief of Amantin without appropriate consultation with the local community, thereby impoverishing the smallholder farmers that predominantly make up the community, including Esther's household.
My mom is 65 years old. This is the place that my mother lived, and he gave birth to us. My father has traveled due to financial problem, but he's old man. He can't work anymore. So she's in the house wherever he is. And my sisters here, they are not, my sisters that with me, they are not here. All of them are in Kumasi and some are in Atebebu. When this company came, that they have sold the land to them. So they are come to work on it. We asked them that why didn't they organize us and tell us something, give us any time so that they will come for. They said no. So far as they have bought it, they have the right to do whatever they want on the land. So we decided to go to the king house, the palace, the king's house, so that he will tell us something. When we went there, he said that the land is for him, and he has sold it. He has nothing to do with it again. If we have something to do, then we should come to the company and beg them if they will have a place for us. There are many places that they have sold, apart from Akokwa. We have found for Tietia and Yankroma. All those places, they have sold it. And they have their signboard over there, which they are, since the farmers not to work again. Since this company come and this issue raised up, there's no money. They've left us in the poverty. They have already taken the farmland from us, and we have no place to work. We have no place to farm. So we have decided to go to Bade. When those people, they have not collected their farms, their land. When they farm, we go to their farms and harvest their beans and maize for them so that they give us more to come and take. That's why we can survive now.
Today, the people of Akokwa have organized a big rally and town hall meeting, and Esther's mother, Akosua Wanepe, intends to use the opportunity to share the pain that she and her household are going through. This is with the hope that the village elders, in conjunction with the Civil Society Coalition on Land in Ghana, will be able to find a solution towards preventing the company from driving them off their land. At the town hall meeting, several members of the local community, including widows and smallholder farmers, narrate about their respective ordeals as a result of the land being taken away by the company. Emotions run high as this is a very sensitive matter for the community members. It emerges that in addition to their farmlands, the chief of Amantin has also leased out to the agro-processing company the entire land of the community and its surroundings, including their schools, places of worship, and markets. The meeting facilitator, Ebenezer Bediako, who is the national coordinator of the Civil Society Coalition on Land in Ghana, is perplexed by the extent to which the rights of the community members have been violated.
What they are saying is that they came and took over the land from them without consultation. There was no consultation before the land took over. They also mentioned that they've also not been compensated and that several acres of land have been taken from them. This one in particular, they took 22 acres of land from this gentleman. He was not consulted, he has not been compensated, and nothing is happening. And there was a classical point where this woman, as I've heard, lost the husband. And the only source of livelihood was the farming. Unfortunately, they took over the farm. And that is a widow, and he doesn't know what to do. Well, they need to be dialogued with. They want their inputs to be factored in all debates, from the chief to all the land sector agencies. They are also calling on the government and the public sector agencies to come to their aid. You have law enforcers, lands commission are there, and state institutions. They expect the district assembly, the municipal assembly are also there. They expect these organizations, these land sector agencies to come to their aid to rescue them from there.
So here's the dilemma. While the company has legally leased the land from the chief of Amantine, it has done so in a manner that is not up to scratch in terms of international human rights law, particularly in terms of the level of consultation, compensation, as well as adherence to the principles of free, prior and informed consent of the affected communities. Often, these land deals do not have adequate environmental impact assessments, social impact assessments, or even human rights impact assessments.
They tell us that they will give us another land, but the place that they are giving to us, there's more water. You can't do anything over there. You can't plant, and the place is also far away. We can't walk to that place and become doing up and down. But they have a tractor and cars to do that work. Just that place is not good for any work that you can use.
While the company believes that it is doing a lot of favors to members of the community, the company's footprint, in fact, adversely affects the livelihood as well as the sense of security and well-being of the community.
Like the woman is saying, actually, she was working somewhere, she came here, but the husband has been helped, I know, with agrochemicals, plowing free, and all those things. So, I'm even surprised people are complaining that they are sucking them from the land. Meanwhile, you are still working on the land. Nobody is sucking. But what is happening now is that farmers will still insist that where they've been cropping, that's where they want to crop. Meanwhile, it can't be so.
So I actually want to know why the community don't want to move from the near place to the far place. Any reason?
Any reason?
Yes.
You're also a human being, you know. If I can walk from here to this place and farm, it will be difficult for you to walk from here to the project site there and work. So they are thinking it is better they come closer to their community and work.
So what do we think can be done with respect to the engagement with the community and the company and to bring about absolute peace, which will also create the enabling environment for the company to thrive?
We have been dialoguing.
Okay.
We have been dialoguing. Good. Manager, the assistant manager, we got the financial control, we have the foreman. We sit down and think of what we can do. But as at now, we are not driving them out of the land. But when we have reached, you can't do otherwise. So we are advising them that we are pleading with them, like the assistant manager was saying. We have been pleading with them that let's go to the other side that we are thinking that we can give you. Even if I will not be mistaken, I just want to bring this. They are thinking of even bringing a bulldozer by next year and uprooting some of the trees all along for most of the farmers to go there. So does that mean if that debt should be incurred, farmers say they will not go. So what will be the end result?
But have you compensated? No, with your interaction with the company, have they compensated the farmers in form of cash or in form of input supply?
Compensation is in diverse ways.
Okay.
Yes, my assistant manager said they plow for somebody.
How about the rest they have not plowed for?
If they are in need of plowing, they contact him.
Okay.
He goes to do that. Put a list across.
Is it for free or for a small fee?
Sometimes for free.
It is obvious that the company is in denial regarding its corporate responsibility to respect the rights of members of the community, particularly in terms of internationally accepted standards for resettlements, which require that such processes be underpinned by the principle that the community should be better off in the long term. The affected communities within the Amantin-Atebubu district are just one example of land grabbing in Ghana, which has become so widespread in the country as a result of the shortfalls in the land management system within the country. Ghana operates a dual system of land administration, in which customary and statutory systems governing land overlap. The majority of land in Ghana that are often the interest of large-scale acquisitions are customary lands that are held informally under customary land tenure systems that differ from area to area. In this regard, traditional leaders play a significant role in providing leadership and the institutional arrangements for the administration of such customary lands.
Yes, it's believed that about 80% of the land holding in Ghana are customarily owned,
which comprise lands held by various traditional landowners who may be families or clans or chieftaincy groups, depending on the nature of the social organization of the particular community.
In Ghana, land is group owned and interest in land is group held. This means that from the beginning of time of the settlement of our forefathers, we have always been moving in groups to go and settle in an area and claim ownership by virtue of staying on the land for a long period, being in undisturbed possession of the land. When that becomes so, the founder of that area, even if it is an individual who finds the land, his children inherit him, and through the inheritance of his children, the land becomes a family land.
The wording of the Ghanaian Constitution of 1992 is at the crux of the land management issues facing the country. Firstly, the Constitution recognizes traditional authorities as the allodial owners of customary land.
And the customary land owners are the managers of these lands, or let's call it the administrators of these stool and skin lands. When I say stool land, I mean the lands that are administered by the customary land owners and who sit on stool in the southern part of Ghana. In the northern part of Ghana, we have the skin. So variably is the same thing, but it depends on the location of the land. Yes.
At the same time, traditional leaders are, however, enjoined by the Constitution to manage customary lands as trustees that have a fiduciary duty to protect the collective interest of their respective communities. The question, does a traditional leader as a custodian have the power to sell any land he chooses to?
The Constitution specifies that the individual in whom the group interest is vested, be the head of family or the chief, in terms of stool land, holds the land in trust for the group. So you administer it in the best interest of the group. But sometimes, what is the best interest of the group sometimes is misinterpreted, and it is exploited by some of the interests. And therefore, you can find instances where leaders of groups arrogate themselves the right to give away vast tracts of family land without the members knowing about it or participating in the decision making leading to that particular action.
And there are laws on the number of years you can give your land out to an investor for whatever purpose. If it's for residential purposes and the person is a Ghanaian, you can give it out for 99 years maximum. If it's for farming purposes, you cannot give it out for more than 25 years, depending on what kind of agreement you come up with a person. If it's a foreigner, maximum is 50 years. So these laws are there, but as I said, a lot of people are not aware. Even the community members whose lands are being given out are not aware about some of these laws.
This same land, look at the pressure on it. Somebody needs it for farming so that he can live. Another person needs it so that he can lease it out and make more money. And the one who needs it for this sort of peasant farming cannot give much. Then a commercial person can say, I need the land. I can offer you so much. Then it becomes very difficult for the landholder, that's the traditional rulers, here with the chiefs, to say no once they see that big envelope or big juicy promises.
We have realized that chiefs, some chiefs, not all the chiefs, some of them are just giving out the land. And sometimes they think about what they will get now, the money that is coming out now. Maybe they have so many acres or hectares, so they can give it out at this, a price at this time. But if you think about in the next 20 years, that money you are taking now will not be any money. It won't help your community.
There are a number of key challenges relating to the management of customary land in Ghana. Firstly, the livelihoods of the traditional authorities are intrinsically linked to the land that they control, as they have no other major source of income for their sustenance and maintaining traditional institutional structures.
So for example, Gugufu Treasure area, as of mine, I'm managing the land and the people, the resources over there. In the olden days, I was managing the money. Whatever comes out of the land is the true property. But with the inception of the constitutional administration, there was a set up true land administration. And whatever revenue that comes from the land is invested in the true land. And they apportion the money to us. How do they do it? They say for managing the two lands for us, they want to charge us 10% of whatever money they collect from our lands. So for example, Gugufu Treasure Council, out of the 90, which has become 100, 55 goes to the district assembly, which is at Amansia East, centered at Bekwai, Ashanti. Then 45 comes to Treasure Council, with 20% coming to me as the stool occupant, to maintain myself, to maintain the stool attendance, and to do all other things that is within the palace. And then the 25% remaining goes to Treasure Council to run the Treasure Council.
Na hoden bra na fe kasa na ba be pia ba na tumi bi mpie mfiri kasa no na enye den emra nti se me gina ha ba go ha na nia mpanin na bai efi South Africa ba be boa ama bribi aboman mu nia wasenen.
Traditional authorities in many instances lack the technical capacity to deal with the complexities in the management of their land. This has resulted in land deals that bring little or no significant benefits to the local people in both the short and the long term. This includes the knowledge about how to negotiate land deals in terms of market value and beneficiation. Often, environmental and human rights issues are not well managed in accordance with international standards and norms. As a result, local communities are severely disadvantaged, particularly women, widows, the elderly, and other vulnerable groups.
African women, we are suffering a lot when it comes to land issues. And even our home, our domestic, we are suffering. A woman cannot go alone and acquire land unless her husband followed him to the place. Then the husband will take it before he will give it to the woman. The woman will start farming, and all of a sudden an estate developer will come and the land will be sold to that person without the knowledge of the woman, and no any gratuity will be given to the woman. They don't even think about what would the children eat, how would the woman survive.
Despite the expectation in terms of employment and infrastructural development from corporate investment in land, communities have experienced that these promises have usually gone unfulfilled. Most often, they are not included in the related contract documents.
When they come and say they don't do anything for the community, even if you are using my land as a commercial something and you are paying a gratitude to the community, fine, we will use it to do developmental work in the community, but you are using it without giving us anything, and which is affecting us a lot, especially the women. We are suffering with our case.
Argument is, yes, when they come and take it on commercial scale, they will provide employment for our people. Well, once you are providing employment for them, and probably increases the production of whatever you are doing, you are destroying other people's livelihood too. So you see how complex it is. What are the farmers who consume the bulk, about 70-80%, who haven't gotten the work? What do they also do?
It is important to note that there are alleged instances where government unilaterally allocates customary land to foreign investors directly for mining purposes.
The Chinese investors were given topo maps, and they were shown areas that they could have gold mined over there. They went to these assemblies with those maps and registered there. And if the assembly cares, he will send a copy of that government is giving this out. Means of mines and natural resources is giving this area out to expatriate miners to do mining there. And they have signed up this. It is for your notice.
And look at those galamsey as the mining, the small scale mining. They are spoiling our land. They're going without any permission. You see a China man with a little two people start mining. After they will leave all the holes there, and when the water, there's a rainfall, it go overflow and it will go to a lot of people's house.
But if we go to see the land that have been destroyed as at now, I don't know what I'm going to tell my great-grandfathers when I go to join them in the heavens. And they ask about the land they left for me to oversee. I have nothing to say except that out of the little money I collected, I've been able to rehabilitate the palace.
Out of concern for land management issues in the country, the government of Ghana has been trying to put in place certain measures to strengthen economic governance of land.
Given the shortcomings of the legislation which earlier governed lands, particularly within Section 14 of the Administration of Lands Act 1962, it was necessary to come out with new guidelines. One, ensuring that all persons who have interest in land play a role in the grant of any land beyond a certain acreage. The second issue is about the nature of the use. The focus essentially is to ensure that as much as we are able to produce industrial crops, we should not also lose sight of the fact that food security is the strength of every nation.
In furtherance with the land policy, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is implementing a long-term 15 to 25-year reform in the land sector called the Land Administration Project LAP.
This is being done by reducing bottlenecks in the land service delivery, by enhancing land tenure security, transparency and accessibility to land for all stakeholders in the land sector.
As a ministry, we are educating our chiefs to understand some of these things. In some of the regional houses of chiefs that we have visited, we have told the chiefs not to give out those lands just like that. There should be an equity. At the last count, we realized that we have about 166 laws governing our lands in Ghana, which we thought is not the best. We need to harmonize these laws to make it one law that can help us. The government is coming up with this land bill, which will be passed into an act. And as part of the processes, we are ensuring that gender is also mainstream in that law, so that we have clauses that also support the interest of women in terms of land. For the traditional sector as well, the Kashmiri level, we haven't left them. We are also supporting them in terms of creation of what we call the Kashmir Land Secretariat. These are secretariat that are supposed to be at the ground to register land. I wouldn't say register, but to document, because lands are registered at the regional or national level. Yes, so you can document your interest at that basic level, so that there will be some kind of documentation to whatever land you have, be it farmland, be it your residential property or whatever. It can be done at that local level.
While the efforts of the Land Administration Project are laudable, the challenge is that not much is being done to atone for the loss and suffering of presently displaced communities, whose fate seems to depend on civil society organizations that seem to be fighting an uphill battle to ensure the respect and protection of the rights of members of the communities in terms of food security, their access to land, as well as redress for violations of their human rights within the complex land management framework of the country.
What we are asking you is that you can beg them. If they are not even going to give the whole thing to us, they should divide it and give us parts so that we can use it now. And if they can even compensate us with some money that we are going to use with that small land, that one will be okay for us.
In his own language. Wait.